go ahead. The next item we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go read through the public comments received. So I'm going to ask everybody, bear with me. I will read the name of each public comment. I'm going to read the public comment, and it's going to take a while. I think we have 32 or 33 on this item. They're not all 3 minutes long, but I do want to get through them all. So I'm going to start that now, and then we'll be able to have more discussion. And if you would, Judy or whoever is controlling the screen, can you put up, just go ahead and put up the park concept plan, at least as a placeholder as we go through this. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and start. And I'm reading these in the order they were received. And I received comments right up through about 5 o'clock, and I took them right up to the end. So the first one is from Julie Simper, a 10-year resident of Palo Verde Ranch, and the comments are pertaining to the proposed Alpine County Park. I'm speaking today both as an individual community member as well as steering committee chair for the group named Preserve Alpine's Heritage, a network of over 400 concerned citizens from all areas of Alpine. As awareness of the extensive park design increases, so do our numbers, with 83% growth this month already. We welcome bringing additional park recreation activities to our community. However, we oppose the planned 25-acre park with its overwhelming design that includes a skate bike park, sports fields, basketball pickleball courts, barbecue pits, 273 parking spots, a berm landscape screen, and much more. Not only is this far beyond the 12 to 15 acre community park concept originally presented, it is simply too much for the location and surrounding neighborhoods. Further concerns that remain unaddressed to date include distance from the inhabited town center, lack of safe pedestrian bike access, dangerous automobile access, traffic, noise, light pollution, safety, security, water usage, maintenance, fire hazard, etc. We also do not believe that an extensive county park is, in fact, what the majority of local residents want or need. Not only are existing recreational facilities in Alpine underutilized and not properly maintained, but available survey data, even that presented by the county, does not support inclusion of many of the facilities in the current design. Our group has responded to the county's request for feedback by submitting questions, expressing concerns, and inviting compromise. We have also asked for transparency regarding the vetting of other locations, further needs assessment data, environmental impact reports, financial feasibility, all of which has been ultimately disregarded, and the park design has actually grown since. The county planning team explained that this growth was in part due to county-wide metrics and the availability of space, not because of what is best for Alpine. We are troubled by both the lack of transparency and the lack of accountability to the local community most impacted by the park as it was currently proposed. Therefore, we hope that you, our Alpine elected officials, will be more transparent and responsive to the many questions and concerns raised by an increasingly important number of your constituents. So now our question is to you. How do you suggest we formally engage with the Alpine Community Planning Group beyond these types of 3-minute interactions to begin a focused and constructive dialogue? Our group of committed community members is working hard, investing the necessary time and resources, and will explore all options to oppose the current extensive park design. We sincerely hope you embrace this invitation to collaborate on finding the right balance for a park that enhances, not overtakes, the amazing rural, cultural, and natural heritage that makes Alpine so special, because once it's gone forever. The next speaker slip is from Courtney Norton. Courtney Norton, 32-year resident of Alpine, California, comments pertaining to the proposed Alpine County Park. How and when did the Alpine Community Planning Group agree/approval the county to proceed with the proposed 25-acre park? The minutes from that meeting are nowhere to be found. All communications indicate that the Alpine Community Planning Group was in favor of a small passive park. On January 8, 2019, George Barnett posted on Loving Life Alpine Facebook page regarding the county's 2019 purchase of the 98 acres. This is good news for Alpine, as the purchase preserves the land from residential development, and together with the portion of Wrightsfield owned by the Backcountry Land Trust, it extends preserved passive parkland. George Barnett continued to state in the comments to its post, altogether, this acquisition of BCLT property provides Alpine with a wonderful, unsurpassed passive parkland of immense environmental value, How many towns anywhere have 330-acre environmental preserve and parkland in their middle? Nope, you didn't hear that right. The public has always been invited to use BCLT's private-owned portion of Wrightsfield north of South Grade Road as a passive parkland. By definition, that means open to the general public for hiking, horseback riding, dog walking, stargazing, and so on. All passive activities with the only requirements. And then ellipses. My understanding is that the county will also plan on passive uses, no active sports playing fields, ellipses. The county is supporting park plan upgrade the playing fields at Joe McQueen Middle School, which are deemed active parkland. At what point did this change? The impacts of the proposed county park will have on Wrightsfield Preserve are countless, increased foot traffic, noise pollution, etc., and will forever change the preserve we all love. Wrightsfield is part of the county's MSCP and should be afforded the protected it deserves. Once it's gone forever. We have a responsibility to protect the proposed parkland and Wrightsfield Preserve. The county has yet to supply their traffic reports. The stretch of South Grade Road is deadly. You cannot expect children to ride their bikes to this facility without anticipating deaths. If the children do not access the park from South Grade, they will use Wrightsfield to access the park. Once again, another sign of how the proposed park will affect the integrity of Wrightsfield. I plead with the Alpine Community Planning Group to reconsider the proposed park. There are many other locations in Alpine that a park to this magnitude, that a park to this magnitude would be beneficial. The community wants a park like this, make it happen, but not at the risk of destroying Wrightsfield. The next comment was from Margaret Easterling, Secretary of the Alpine Design Review Board, and it is simply in favor of the new park as designed. Next comment was from Amy Blake. Good morning, Travis. I wanted to express my support for the building park in Alpine. I believe the families in Alpine need a nice place to go for picnics, walks, birthday parties, etc. The facilities and the parks we have currently just don't have the qualities that we need up here in this family-oriented area. In addition, adding the park next to Wrightsfield will give that area safe parking, which it does not have now. As you know, there have been deaths from people walking across South Grade to go walk. If there is actually parking available, that will reduce or eliminate that dangerous problem. Finally, the fields will give the kids additional spaces for play. We can have more competitive sports up here, bringing more economy to our community, and it will also allow our kids a place to hang out besides the CVS or places of the like. I hope more people will see the good in the future of the park and stand behind it. Thank you for your time, Amy Blake. Next comment is from Jonah Gula. Hello, Travis. I wanted to add the following comments for tonight's meeting, specifically addressed to you two. Up front, I must express deep concerns and opposition to the county's plans for the Alpine Park. As someone born and raised in Alpine, I understand the desire for a comprehensive park facilities for the community. However, this park plan has so many issues it is difficult to address concisely. First and foremost, for me, are the environmental impacts. Most Alpiners are not even aware that grasslands have declined by nearly 99% in California, and perpetual development like Alpine has contributed to that. Development projects like this park have slowly chipped away at remnant natural places across our country. And it is devastating to me that something like this would happen in my hometown. Many community members who are supportive of the park, including yourself, continually bring up how beneficial this park would be for children and how children are the future, so we need to provide them with parks like this. I contend, however, that this park will do much more damage to our future than if it were built. Think of the message that a project like this sends to our future generations. Meeting our desires for developed park space and county objective metrics is more important than protecting our remnant natural areas, our natural heritage. This is a deeply concerning reality that cannot be disputed. As an active member of the Preserve Alpine Heritage Group, I share concerns that will be echoed in other group members' responses. This site is wholly inappropriate for a park like the one planned. The lack of safe access for youth from the town, the light and noise pollution, the issue of water source and sustainability, etc., are all major and undeniable issues with the park. The county has continually failed to address these issues with any substance, both to our group and the public meeting they held, in which they spent an unnecessary amount of time discussing aspects of the park that are not important, i.e. number of pickleball courts, volunteer station, etc. In particular, they have failed to address how such a dramatic increase in visitation of the site will impact Wright Field proper. As an ecologist, I can say with certainty that the activity on the county site will undoubtedly have significant bleed-over effects on the ecology integrity of Wright Field proper, not to mention the complete degradation of the grassland where the park will be built. So please represent these concerns to the county, as it seems they are more likely to consider feedback from the planning group than actual community members. Jonathan Gula. Next one, from Valerie Hessen. And I apologize if I pronounced that wrong, Hessen or Hessen. 25-year resident of Alpine, avid equestrian and hiker. Alpine needs a park, but not the one that was proposed on January 14, 2021. According to the survey results, the residents who participated in the survey wanted the following top 5. Multiple use trails, biking, dog park, nature-based play, picnic shelters. The survey shows very little support in top 5. Tennis, basketball, pickleball courts, baseball, football, softball, fields, community gardens, skate park. I feel there is a disconnect between what the residents want to see in a community park and what the county wants to build. Listed below are a few of my questions and concerns. When and who decided on the skate park? When did it become such a high priority? When and who decided on the raised bike track? How are the demands on water going to be addressed? Is this just a small piece of a master plan for building an additional 780 houses along the future Road 25 that will connect Tavern to Eltinge? How can the Parks and Recreation Department start construction on a park without the environmental impact studies being completed? This particular concern is in regards to the native and non-native grasslands in and around Wrights Field. According to the County of San Diego Department of Planning and Land Use, the native grasslands of Wrights Field are an important part of the variety of wildlife, including the endangered Stevens kangaroo rat. The information presented on January 14th shows no study being done on this particular mammal. In closing, I feel we need a park that does not encroach on the natural landscape of the area, a park that is self-sustaining and braces on the natural landscape. A park that offers a place where families can take walks, hike, or ride their bikes. A park that leaves a small footprint on the environment where so many animals and plants live. A park where animals, plants, and alpine residents can coexist, prosper, and live in harmony. Next speaker was from Cindy Einseth, or Einseth. Hi Travis, my name is Cindy Einseth, a resident of Alpine. We moved here 3 years ago to get away from city life. Wrights Field is a jewel in the middle of Alpine. It saddens me to think it will be destroyed and changed forever. Wrights Field is a lovely hiking area, right in the middle of town. You feel like you are miles away, but you are only 10 minutes away from home. I am not totally opposed to the idea of the park, but I think Wrights Field is a bad choice. It's right in the middle of a residential area. The traffic alone is dangerous. It will misplace all the wildlife and destroy the wildflowers. For these reasons and many more, I hope that the county reconsiders what's best for the area. Next speaker is Sarah Ryman. Sarah Ryman or Riemann. To whom it may concern, my name is Sarah Ryman. My address is off of South Grade and DeLand Drive. My first concern is the lack of consideration of traffic and the absence of sidewalks to the park. South Grade Road has not only had multiple accidents, but deaths as well. Just adding a few stop signs or a traffic light will improve the situation. Our kids live in danger walking to this park. Our kids' lives are in danger walking to this park. The county has stated this is a drive-to park. This is not realistic to expect Alpine kids not to use the streets to get to the park. The county has also stated they would like to see 1,000 plus visitors a day. It seems that no one is considering the amount of traffic and the increased hazards it will bring to a road so unsafe. The size of the park is so immense for such a remote setting. Alpine needs to review the county proposal because they are unsure how they will access water, sewer, and other necessities to build this lavish, large park. If you revisit the county answers during the live event, many responses were, we don't know, or we are looking into that. or questions weren't answered at all. The county is planning on breaking ground in several months, but they can't answer simple questions. If you review the size of the park, you will see large areas of grass. Do we not have droughts here in Alpine? The large grass areas are not suitable for this environmental setting. The amount of water needed to support all this grass will cost us in Alpine later in life. Another concern was the lack of transparency from the county on this park. I will only discuss the one about fees. When asked will there be fees, the county said not at this time. Here is a red flag that there would be a fee to use this park. If you explore the county's park page, you will notice they charge 10 parking membership for all-wheel parks and rental fees more of the area they would like to build. The county park is not a park for Alpine people, but a park to bring the county money. I have a young son and I would love to see a park there, but not one of this caliber. I want my child to be able to explore the beauty of nature and have fun, but not risk his life to get to the park. Sincerely, Sarah Ryan. The next speaker is Clayton Malden. Travis, as you know, we helped to get the approval of the youth center in town years ago. As you know, the neighboring condos thought it was a horrible location and didn't want it next to their homes. We saw firsthand the positive impact it had on the kids, and now both the community center and the condos have made it work as neighbors for years. Now, with 4 boys, I know firsthand the kids of Alpine want a park. With all that our kids have been through during this time, they deserve a park. It is funny to see all the people on social media that are fighting the park and growth of any kind who had moved here at some time themselves. The percentage of people that were born here is low. I'd say the majority that were born here are still in school and they want a park. So let's get them a park. Thanks, Clay Malden. The next speaker is from Janelle Cooley, and it's titled Pro Park. Good morning. I was told to email this address to state that I support the park being built in Alpine. I have 4 children that would greatly benefit having this in their community. We have been residents for 8 years. The next speaker is Jessica Manning Ross. To whom it may concern. I am writing today in support of the proposed community park in Alpine. As a parent, community member, president of the Alpine Education Foundation, and past commissioner for Alpine AYSO, I have seen firsthand the need for a community park in Alpine. Alpine is a unique and beautiful community, but it has been historically park poor. Because of this, there has been limited space for kids to have constructed places to congregate. Small children have the options of play parks, but older children and teens do not have that luxury. This age group has socialized at the small play area behind the Alpine Library, but there is not much for them to do other than to sit with friends. They have built an area with dirt jumps near Albertsons, but it is along a busy road with difficult access. I've seen them regularly in the Albertsons parking lot on scooters and skateboards, finding fun among the traffic. I support the park because it will allow a safe and central location, while also specifically designing space for older children to ride their bikes and scooters. Furthermore, the park space will allow more options for sports fields in Alpine. As it currently stands, many recreational and club sports teams share limited field usages in a delicate scheduling balance throughout the year. It leaves little room for public or pickup games to take place. Having additional sports fields will encourage the growth of a number of different types of sports and allow community members to enjoy the sports fields with their family and friends. I support families playing together and having options of outdoor areas to enjoy. In addition, I know the community has had unrelenting requests for a dog park, which would be wonderful. Dog parks encourage community members to get together, get to know each other better, and share the love of their pet. As a mother, I love the idea of taking my dogs to play with the other dogs, while also allowing my children the freedom to enjoy their hobbies in a space adjacent to the dog park. With these uncertain times, children need every chance for physical play as they can get. The mental health declines in children during pandemic times is irrefutably declining. Having a space to exercise and bond with friends safely is paramount. Thank you for your hard work and determination to develop a park that can fit the needs of many and that can be a source of pride for the community. Sincerely, Jessica Manning Ross. The next speaker is It's Jake Dombrowski. Hello, I'm a local resident of Alpine and live off South Grade near Wrights Field. The park has drawn lots of critics, and I would like to voice my support of the project. I am a father of 4 school-aged children. We moved to the community and immediately got our kids plugged into the local schools and sports. I believe that parents of school-aged children are growingly aware is that kids are facing struggles that other generations haven't experienced. Depression and suicide are growing at an alarming rate. This generation has grown up in an age fueled by online interactions. Kids do not have enough environments that encourage real relationships. I believe that a new park with a skate park and sports facilities will fuel better relationships and be a positive environment for children. I see sports leagues where kids and parents get to know each other. I see families gathering for concerts and movies in the park. The positives far outweigh the negatives. I ask that we all be responsive of the concerns of the community. Crime and traffic seem to be the concerns I hear most. I know that these issues have been considered, and I trust that they will be properly addressed. Alpine is growing. I know that's hard for some. Change is almost always hard for people, but I believe the proposed park is a change for the better and proudly support the project for the betterment of our children and our community. Thank you, Jake Dombrowski. The next speaker is Jim Mason. Dear Mr. Lyon, please accept this speaker slip for tonight's meeting regarding the county park. If possible, I would simply like to express my concerns regarding the scope of the project. My name is Jim Mason, and I've been a resident of Alpine for 28 years. As such, I've raised a family, had a successful career, and have very much enjoyed all that rural Alpine has to offer its residents. One of these aspects is Wrights Field. Upon learning that the county had purchased that part of Wrights Field not owned by the BCLT, I was pleased that the land would not fall into residential development. Also, I was pleased that additional recreational activities would be available in Alpine. The scope of the proposed project, however, is vast, complex, and incongruent with the natural environment. Specifically, it raises profound unresolved issues regarding access for children and pedestrians, given its distance from the town center, and commercial activities, related safety issues, water and irrigation issues, light pollution, potential fire hazard, and a very significant risk of noise pollution. Further, although some mitigation is planned, the park as designed would have a very negative impact on the sensitive natural environment of the BCLT portion of Wrights Field. I would argue that although the improved park land for Alpine is important, this is the wrong park and the wrong place. I would ask that the ACPG re-examine the scope of this project. Sincerely, Jim Mason. Next speaker slip is from David Meyer. I am all for the new park in Alpine. Finally, a safe place for kids to be kids. I only wish it was here 20 years ago for my kids to enjoy while they were growing up. I think it will be a great addition for our community. David Meyer. Next speaker slip is from Vic Cooper. Where does the Alpine Community Planning Group stand on the current park proposal? APG presented the first park meeting and were ill prepared at best. We haven't heard from them since. Several in attendance signed to receive additional information as it came available. I, for one, have not received any correspondence to date with the exception of tonight's meeting. And again, property owners like myself were not notified by the APG. We have voiced our concerns at every meeting about stormwater runoff, lack of existing sewer connection for this type of project, lack of environmental impact reports, protected plants, and wildlife corridor already established for the area, as well as traffic and public safety. No one has addressed those concerns from the county to date. With the Wrights Field Preserve and Findale Ranch Preserve adjacent to the proposed park, how does the county plan to protect these designated endangered natural habitats? I personally contacted park project manager Judy, I'm going to butcher your last name, so I won't say it. Expressing my concerns again, she said these issues will be addressed at a later date. When? My question to the APG president, you commented at the virtual park meeting, you drive your kids down the hill to parks that offer the proposed activities for Alpine. Why did you choose to move to Alpine 10 years ago? My family is 4th generation Alpine residents. Why did we stay? We love our rural community. And when we want other activities not offered in Alpine, we too gladly drive down the hill. Alpine offers the best of both worlds, rural living and literally minutes from everything San Diego has to offer. I grew up playing in Wrights Field as a kid, climbing on rocks, riding bikes, and motorcycles. The best friends I had then are still living in Alpine. And we all raised our kids here, and now they are too raising their families in Alpine. APG should be an extension of the community as a whole. Has APG reached out to any Alpine residents whose property borders the proposed park? There are better choices for Alpine than this. Why the rush now? This proposed park is directly out our front door. Alpine resident for 62U. Thank you, Vic Cooper. Next speaker slip is from Lauren Humphrey, 9-year resident of Alpine. I'm a mother of 3 children and have been a resident of Alpine for 9 years. Alpine has a small town, rural feel, which is why we moved here. I love this town, and I pick up trash on Saturdays. I am the person who visits the park most frequently in town. Ask anyone, it's me and my 3 little kids. I love our small town park, and so does everyone else. People come from Santee and Lakeside because they love the small town feel. There are several other parks and ball fields in Alpine, and they go unused. The proposed park is enormous and completely out of place. I have talked to countless residents who are fine with a smaller regular park, but no one wants our town, especially Wrights Field, taken over by a giant 25-acre park with multiple access roads. Wrights Field is the heart of our town and a beautiful natural park in itself. Residents have not adequately been informed of this park or given any choice in actually planning it. The community voted for walking, jogging, nature trails, biking, picnic, shade, restrooms, parking, and a sports field, and a dog park. So why are there sports fields and a skate/bike park on the proposed plan? The community does not want sports fields, courts, or skate bike parks. Those were the lowest voted on the community survey of the amenities we actually wanted in our park. I feel myself, my community, my Alpine has been pushed aside for the greater good and profit of people who don't live in or love this town. Alpine needs a park, but a park that highlights our beautiful town, not something that consumes it. And please, not at the expense of Wrights Field. Thank you. The next speaker slip is from Annie Norton. I'm Annie Norton and am a resident of Alpine for 30 years. I have a personal attachment and historical knowledge of Wrights Field because I was one of the core opponents to the Stagecoach Ranch development. I know what it took to preserve this unique land, and I'm definitely opposed to the county's current plans for this park. I thank the county for purchasing the 98 acres and completing the remaining open space of Wrights Field. It came as a relief to hear that the plans would basically leave the land as is, except for perhaps 10 to 15 acres. This meant that the county got it. They understood how valuable open land and passive parks are. Passive parks give people the chance to reconnect with nature and to understand nature's restorative powers, so important to our overall health and appreciation of our planet. I am having a huge problem wrapping my head around this oxymoron. A park on top of an existing park. It boils down to a fabricated park, the one the county is now proposing, versus a passive park, the one they led us to believe when we were going to continue to have. I advocate for the passive park and honor the land's worth as such. There is a small patch of disturbed area that could be converted to a small parking area and is a needed safety feature. Transparency is needed between the county, our local officials, and the public to understand this park's evolution. We have a right to know how the park exploded in size, snowballing into a park designer's Disneyland of sorts. The county openly admits, almost with pride, that it has taken them over 25 years to bring a county park to Alpine. It feels like in order to make restitution for their lack of motivation, responsibility, or whatever you want to call it, they now need to condense every kind of contrived recreational experience into this piece of land, plunk it down in a location where it simply does not belong, and then shove it down our throats. Those present at the last meeting with the county will remember the county biologist basically saying, "You are getting this park whether you like it or not." That's not what I consider collaboration with the public. I ask our local leaders to postpone their recommendation of the current park plans and to objectively reevaluate how credible this proposed park really is and if it truly meets the needs of our community. The grandiose bells and whistles that are packed into this design can be very persuasive, but not at this location. I challenge our community leaders to see the obvious and do what is right. We already have a park, passive as it is actually being used and appreciated daily. The next speaker slip is from Robert Figari. With respect, I submit that the concept plan of the Alpine Community Park would be a disaster for our Alpine community. The plan is more akin to a sports complex than the original idea of a 12 to 15 acre neighborhood park. With 250 parking spaces and the potential for easily 2,000 people using the park simultaneously, nearly 40 elements all crammed into 25 acres, it is far too massive a plan that does not fit in the Alpine community. Overflow from the proposed park will destroy the natural environment of the popular Wrights Field due to the plan's projected crowd capacity in the immediate proximity to Wrights Field Preserve. Question: please explain how the plan does not violate many of the county's guidelines and trend research outlined in the numerous master plan documents quoted below. There is simply no mention of all-wheels parks, pickleball, baseball, basketball, corrals, equestrian staging, etc. in plan documents. In the purpose section of the County San Diego Master Plan's Parks Master Plan from December 2020, in order for DPR to develop a long-range plan for providing the right recreational facilities, it must understand the nature of the community, its recreation desires, its actual needs, its social makeup, and its ability to provide the services that are determined necessary. So what are the published trends for the right recreational facilities? Demographic trends. Baby boomers will be looking for opportunities in fitness, sports, outdoors, arts, and cultural events. Millennials spend most of their time indoors, leaving home primarily to socialize with friends and families. Gen Y millennials have interests similar to baby boomers in fitness and outdoor sports. Facility trends: increased bicycling and walking, dog parks, shade structures, connected system of community trails, outdoor gyms. Programming trends: nature-based programs, sightseeing, birding, and wildlife watching, exercise walking, swimming, exercising with equipment, camping, and bicycle riding. The Alpine Community and Subregional Plan, CPA, outlines the socio-demographic trends and future recommendations for the Alpine community. Consistent with the projected demographics, provide opportunities for running, jogging, fishing, road biking, mountain biking, camping, and hiking. Due to a projected increase in residents age 70 and older, provide fitness programs like aerobics classes. The guiding principles Appendix A of the draft community plan states, consistent with the projected demographics, provide opportunities for running, jogging, fishing, road biking, mountain biking, camping, and hiking. Due to a projected increase in residents ages 70 and older, provide fitness programs like aerobics classes. Robert Figari, resident of Alpine. The next comment from Robert Welsh. Hello, Travis. I'll make this quick. My family and I are residents of Alpine and do not approve the proposed park and housing project near Wrights Field. Alpine does not need any more residents. I've actually camped with you and your family and even voted for you. Please do not let me regret doing so. Thank you, Robert Welsh. The next comment from John Ball. Alpine Community Planning Group. My name is John Ball. I'm a property owner and resident of Alpine for 16 years. I'm against the proposed county park plan and its concept design for the following reasons. Resident survey and outreach. First and foremost, there was not an effective outreach to property owners and residents of Alpine. Some of us participated in this survey more than 2 years ago. The results of that survey was a natural park with dirt parking, no lighting, no sports fields. It supported equestrian, hiking, walking, biking, and picnic areas. It did not, or had little support for sports field. In the county's own presentation, they admitted to only sending out 5,000 mailers. On further questioning, they admitted sending those mailers out to other areas to survey support of a community park. We have 18,000 residents. If this park was so important and the county had been working on it for so long, then why not reach out to all residents and property owners? This flawed survey system was the first failure by the county to uphold taxpayers' trust in our representative government and made the community park concept just political doublespeak. When I contacted friends that live in the immediate area of the proposed park, only one resident knew about the park proposal. This is why the park has gained such opposition to its design. In its own presentation and documents, it talked about a workshop where 40 people showed up to give input. Maybe that's why two people the county said were there wanting pickleball got two pickleball courts in the park plan. Now, I'm not against pickleball, but I think it's a little unfair that a sport that was not even mentioned in the survey somehow got into the park plan. I would call these two people lucky. Traffic safety. The traffic that this plan will generate is not safe, in my opinion, for the layout of South Grade Road. There will have to be a lot of work done to mitigate this safety issue. Will it be done before we have a serious accident, loss of life? Nature and wildlife. Anyone that has ever visited Wrights Field can attest to its natural beauty, scenic vistas, and immense grasslands. Please do not change it to this drastic of a level. What is being proposed is for a newly built planned community in the suburbs of a large city. Noise. When I pressed with questions about lighting, the county stated we don't have plans to light the sport fields at this time. My kids played on sports team as an Alpine, and I contest that this issue will be pushed to have lights on in the winter months. Crime. As a current law enforcement officer with 35 years of experience at the county, with the city of San Diego, with my main patrol area being Mission Bay Park, I can tell you without a doubt this will attract nefarious activity, especially at night if there is not a strong and constant law enforcement presence at the proposed park 24/7, 365. The reality is that residents that live nearby will be put under the uncomfortable and exhausting duty of watching over the park and calling the sheriff's deputies. In closing, as an Alpine resident, I want local control of these land use decisions. The fact that the ACPG didn't reach out to residents themselves is part of the communication failure. The next speaker slip is from Jeff and Alana Light. My husband and I are 25-year residents of Alpine. We were originally excited about the county purchasing the rest of Wrights Field because we heard it was going to be a passive park. We attended the community meetings, took surveys, observed the results, and assumed that community input would determine the amenities, look, and feel of the park. Trails, dog park, shady areas, some tables, horse staging area, and safe parking is what the participants wanted. This park would have been a perfect companion to Wrights Field Preserve and keep the rural feel of the community. Unfortunately, the community input was disregarded for amenities the county believes future Alpine residents want. Because of course, they know better than those that live here, right? The county wants to grade an ancient riverbed and convert some of the highest quality native grasslands left into thirsty sod playing fields, a ballpark with synthetic turf, and a concrete all-wheel park. They say it won't be a destination park, yet the plan calls for over 200 parking spots. Their plans call for an abundance of trees that will somehow grow in clay and granite soil. They cannot tell us whether the bathrooms will be on septic or sewer, whether the fields will be watered with public or well water, and when asked how the children will arrive there, they tell us it will be a drive-to park. When asked about the traffic on South Grade, they ignore the question and say DPLU will figure it out. We can't believe the county would draw up plans without having the EIR completed and not having a concrete idea of how to mitigate the extra traffic. South Grade is very dangerous. People drive too fast. In addition to the dead animals that often litter the road, people have died. We were present when Andrea Smith was hit and killed on South Grade. This is not a road that you want more people driving on. It's unfathomable that the county will pay over $28 million for a park that will irreparably destroy the rural feel of Alpine and increase traffic, making an already dangerous road worse. Seems like there is a major political agenda going on beyond fulfilling the needs of Alpine residents, and we are not happy. We absolutely do not support this park. Jeff and Alana Live. Next speaker, Susie Murphy, regarding agenda item G2. Dear Mr. Lyon and other planning group members, my name is Susie Murphy, and I am the executive director of the San Diego Mountain Bike Association. I am speaking on behalf of our members and supporters who live in Alpine. We are proud partners of the Backcountry Land Trust. We look forward to continuing to work together on trail projects on Wrights Field to not only make the trails more sustainable, but to also offer a quality trail experience for everyone that also helps protect the natural resources. I would like to speak in support of the Alpine Community Park Plan, including the inclusion of a bike park amenity and a well-planned multi-use trails. We have engaged our members and others who live in Alpine through the public process in the input period over the past couple of years. We know that support for Bike Park was a high priority for the community members who engaged in the process and gave their input. Offering the cyclists and families of Alpine a safe place to ride bikes and practice their skills not only offers healthy outdoor activity, but may alleviate pressures on the surrounding trails. We would recommend that the Planning Committee continue to discuss how to fund and implement the active transportation plan that was supported by this planning group in 2014. Implementation of the ATP can greatly benefit the Alpine community by providing safe and accessible areas for exercise and circulation on foot or by bicycle, including safe routes to the county park. Our members who live in Alpine know that as the area continues to grow, this park and the improvements approved by the active transportation plan will enhance their quality of life. The proposed park can be an additional springboard for interpretive and educational opportunities for the community at large to engage them as stewards for the surrounding open space, including Wrights Field. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comments on behalf of our members who are Alpine residents. Susie Murphy, SDMBA Executive Director. Next speaker is Casey Haynes, Commissioner of Alpine AYSO, to whom it may concern. We are writing in support of the Alpine Community Park. As one of the longest standing recreational sports programs in Alpine, the Alpine AYSO has seen many years of tight field space. This in turn limits the available sports programs for players. Currently, the field options in Alpine are extremely limited, as AYSO shares the use of field facilities with Alpine American Little League, lacrosse, and others. We believe additional fields would allow for more sports options in Alpine and would also allow community members more use of fields that are normally saturated with recreational and club sports teams. We are committed to seeking best park options for our players and their families, and we believe this park will be a positive addition to the community. Sincerely, Casey Haynes. The next speaker is Joyce. I think I'm going to say Joyce Nygaard. Hello. I'm opposed to the scope and scale of the Alpine Community Plan as currently proposed by the county. This is not the right place for an active park containing a skate park, bike park, basketball courts, and baseball fields. Those activities are better suited closer to the village core, where they are more accessible and less obtrusive. The county has yet to address issues of water, sewage, and safe passage for visitors to the park who are not in a vehicle. The park that was originally presented contained a dog park, community garden, equestrian staging areas, trails with fitness stations, picnic areas, and off-street parking. These activities are suitable for this area, which is surrounded by residential properties and habitat preserves. I urge you to support a scaled-back, more passive park for this property. Thank you. Joyce Nygaard. The next speaker is Mary Hicks, to the Alpine Community Planning Commission. Changes being proposed to the Alpine Community Plan disregard the community's stated wishes for their own community. Residents oppose the proposed urbanization of Alpine to the detriment of open space. Alpine has voted no to every idea brought forth on touching any and all of Wrights Field. Do not impose a feeder road as suggested. It's called Road 25, a supposedly light collection road from Eltinge to Tavern. Do not place a skate park in Wrights Field. This is right where a pedestrian was killed crossing the street, high speeds, blocking corners, no sidewalks. Sidewalks and riding trails on South Grade are not feasible. Widening South Grade would require taking people's private property. There exists a park and recreation hall in town by the library. The proposal under review is a very urban skate park in the middle of a community that wants open space. Existing park location on Alpine Boulevard is a much more suitable for a developed park. This community has purchased the Lazier Ranch for a high school. That land sits vacant. It appears a high school doesn't seem to be in the picture any longer. That land should be used for this park. That road can carry the traffic easily. Move the proposed park to this location. How can the county move forward with the purchase, design, and approval for a park in the middle of Alpine without doing an environmental impact report? Why has there been no acknowledgement of the grasslands and Stevens Kangaroo Rat? Sincerely, Mary Hicks, 17-year Alpine resident. The next speaker is Kyle Ogle. My wife and I just purchased our home at the corner of South Grade and Calle de Compadre. My wife grew up in Alpine, and we were so happy to return to raise our family. Our family moved from Santa Clara to Alpine to escape busy city life. We were drawn to the open ruralness that Alpine has to offer. Our property offers everything we are seeking in a new home: quiet open space, beautiful sunsets, and dark skies to enjoy the stars with less traffic, noise, and pollution. We were aware that the County Department of Parks and Rec had planned to develop a small 10 to 15 acre park across the street from our new home. We were hopeful this park would be done in a way that would honor the space, which is what we understood the community and the Alpine Community Planning Group supported: picnic tables, small parking lot, trash cans. We are extremely unhappy to learn that the county is proposing a 25 acre active recreation park to meet their matrix, while utterly disregarding what the community has wanted for decades. This size of a park would increase traffic, noise, and safety that would directly impact our family and the community at large, changing the landscape that many of us were drawn to. The last thing we want is an active park and everything that goes with that literally in our backyard. It is discouraging that the county would choose to develop this land over creating a smaller size park to honor and maintain the integrity of this space, especially in light of the county's priority to preserve open space and develop a sound climate action plan and Governor Newsom's 30 by 30 initiative. The development of this site, which would disrupt the native landscape that so many Alpine residents already enjoy daily and what so many of us moved here for in the first place. This property is home to native grasslands and threatened and endangered species and the habitat they rely on. We are shocked that a public agency would not be interested in preserving and conserving this open space with minimal cost to the county. As property owners, that would be directly affected by the development of this land. We request that the ACPG advocates for the protection of this space. We stress the importance for the ACPG to listen to what the citizens of Alpine want, especially those who will be directly affected if a large-scale park moves forward. We all are stewards of our land and must protect it for our future generations. We must oppose this park. Kyle Ogle. Next speaker is Dominique Norton. Hi, Travis. I'm a property owner adjacent to the proposed park and member of Preserve Alpine's Heritage, a group of over 400 citizens. Therefore, I am not alone in my opposition to the county's proposed Alpine Community Park. From February 2019, when the Board of Supervisors approved the acquisition of this property, until late summer 2020, Alpine had been led to believe that the park at this location would be minimal in size and passive in nature. No one imagined that the park would balloon up to 25 acres, nor that it would be an active park. The park concept, which is now double in size from the original proposal, was not publicly shared until the county's September 2020 meeting. Concerned citizens started to organize in the fall of 2020. Members of Preserve Alpine's Heritage have participated in 2 meetings, early December and late December, directly with the county to communicate our concerns, and participated in the January 14th county meeting. We have tried to engage with the county with minimal success. During the early December meeting, the county stated they wanted to engage and collaborate on the park concept with the public. During the late December meeting, the county did an about face and made it clear that the opportunity to collaborate was over and the park was a done deal. Over 175 people participated at the January 14th county meeting. However, the forum did not facilitate the opportunity to discuss public concern, as no one was allowed to speak. Over 400 questions were asked, most of which the county did not answer during the meeting. The county assured us that they would post answers to our questions. At last check this afternoon, none of the 400 questions have been responded to on the county's website. It has become increasingly clear that the county has not provided information regarding the growing opposition to this park to ACPG members. At the January 14th meeting, Travis Lyons stressed that this is the park Alpine wants. Yesterday, I had a phone conversation with Jim Easterling, the planning group's Park and Rec subcommittee chair, who said he had not heard of any opposition from the public to date. The county should have shared with the ACPG that they have received considerable opposition. I can only conclude that our opposition at the January 14th county meeting effectively has been censored. On January 5th, I emailed the county, and January 14th, I had a call with county. is January 28th, and I have still yet to receive a follow-up on either contact. I respectfully request that the ACPG postpone a vote on this park until the community has had a chance to participate in the process and voice concerns. With due respect, let me be clear. We are Alpine. We do not want this park at this location. Thank you, Dominique Norton. Next speaker is Frank Landis. Dear Mr. Lyon, I'm submitting this comment in lieu of speaking because I also need to be at the County Climate Action Plan meeting, which runs concurrently. Thank you for taking this comment. I am the Conservation Chair for the San Diego chapter of the California Native Plant Society. While not an Alpine resident, I have become involved with the proposed county park due to its proximity to Wrights Field. As someone who deals with environmental issues throughout the county, I wanted to point out 3 of the many things that concern me about the project. One is the County General Plan Conservation and Open Space element, page 39, distinguishes between local and regional parks, passive and active recreation. The county appears to have unilaterally decided to give Alpine an undersized regional park used entirely for active recreation instead of the properly sized local park with substantial passive recreation that everyone thought they were getting. It is worth talking with the park planners in terms of active use and passive use, local parks and regional parks, because they have been fairly vague in their terminology. It will likely be useful to get them to explain their thinking in these terms. If they cannot do so, ask them how their effort complies with the county general plan. Second, the Board of Supervisors unanimously moved to create a sustainability plan for the county to go carbon neutral by 2035. In terms of the park, this implies that if it has large expanses of artificial turf, natural grass, or just normal wear and tear replacement, Alpine will have to figure out how to make all this carbon neutral by 2035. Might I suggest that fewer and more passive facilities will be easier to deal with than a full suite of active play features? I would also strongly suggest getting some detail, ideally in writing, about how the park planners would go about making their design sustainable before you vote to approve any design, because likely Alpine will be on the hook for implementing that work. Finally, I am concerned about the park planners' assumption that they can get this built with minimal CEQA process, something like a negative declaration rather than an EIR. I comment on CEQA issues for CNPS, and by my count, they have potentially significant impacts to sensitive wildlife, unique geological features, greenhouse gas emissions, recreation facilities, degradation of existing facilities at Wrights Field, among others. CEQA is basically a safety checklist, so ignoring it makes everyone's less safe. For everyone's sake, ask them to do a CEQA process analysis properly. Thank you for taking my comments, Frank Landis. The next speaker, Amanda Pavich. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Amanda Pavich. And the name of Miles and Amanda Pavich, Palo Verde Ranch HOA Plus, and the Preserve Alpines Heritage Group. Comments. We are new to Alpine community and moved here for the rural open spaces, access to nature, and dark skies. We live across South Grade from the proposed park site and are regular users of active and passive recreation areas parks. We strongly oppose the park, as proposed on this site, as it completely out of step with the rural nature of the community and the challenge that this location presents. The nearly 300 parking spaces, rental pavilion, skate park, and sports fields were not high on the list of what the community wanted as disclosed by previous meeting documents. And the sheer size requires answers to the questions about human waste, water usage, habitat loss through segmentation, and dangerous access for the kids off South Grade. The county has not answered these questions adequately, nor has been transparent on the economics of the park. How will they pay for the upkeep of these expensive, active recreational facilities? Dr. Amanda Pavich. Apologize. Next speaker is Lynn Field Karsh. This is for a comment on this item. Generally supportive of the park, especially equestrian areas. Overall design seems ambitious. I'm supportive of if the design has to be scaled back as a reality check measure and or if community overall wants it scaled back. Concern over cost of maintenance, how will that be shared? Will our property taxes go up? Would like to see a safe DG path along South Grade in both directions, leading to the park so people who live nearby can walk/run to it. The next speaker is Sandy Gascon. I'm writing as a concerned citizen of Alpine since 1993 in regards to the proposed park and road expansion. Both are very serious matters to me and others that live here. It's important that ACPG be aware that there's a huge opposition group here in Alpine. The proposed park will negatively impact the ecosystem. This area, second, real quick, I apologize. Just make sure that doesn't go off again. The proposed park will negatively impact the ecosystem. This area supports unique plants and animals which need to be protected. The Lazy A Ranch property would be better suited for this project. Road 25 is going to cause so many property owners in that neighborhood to be negatively impacted with easement and traffic issues. Sincerely, Sandra Gascon. Next speaker is Grace Sesma. Dear committee members, I write to you to express my deep concerns about the park that is being proposed for Wrights Field. My husband and I love open spaces where we often walk, admiring rare flowers, chocolate lilies, for example, abundant medicinal plants, and gorgeous sunrises and sunsets. Over 300 plant species and 100 bird species have all been identified on the preserve. Both threatened and endangered species of flora and fauna can be found at Wrights Field, listed in the county. There might be listed endangered species in the county. Threatened species found on the preserve include the Kino checker spot, butterfly, and chocolate lily. And it was cited from the backcountrylandtrust.org Wrights Field website. There are several issues, among them ecological, impacts on important grasslands, birds, medical plants and trees, vernal pools, etc. Cultural, have Kumaya in cultural monitors assess the area? Are there cultural artifacts? Traffic safety, there have been accidents on South Grade. Funding, who will pay for the park and its upkeep, bathrooms, sewer, lighting, etc. And why aren't other locations being considered? Please allow for more time to fully investigate and address our community's concerns. We're almost there. Next speaker slip is Natalie McIntyre. Hi, my name is Natalie McIntyre, and I am writing to you concerning the county's move to break up the ground and build a superplex that is not helpful to our community. Please do not build anything and leave the land untouched. I know you want to make money for your investment, but what you have bought bring great value to so many, and people there are already. This property helps so many people's health by walking, running, biking. It brings families and friends together, indulging in fresh air and natural life. My husband proposed to me there. We have brought our children here to explore and come to love the same place we do. We have church here every Easter and enjoy the beauty of the sunrise. We teach our children about nature and health here. I learned to use a camera here. My husband was born and raised in Alpine and has come here for 36 years of life for quiet reflection and sanctuary that will all be ruined when you build your plex. You say you are creating this plex for the people, but have you even stopped to ask what the people whose money you're spending, what they want for their specific community? We don't want a sports field, we want Wrights Field. We don't want you to spend $28 million of our money for something the community didn't agree to. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Natalie McIntyre. Next speaker slip is from John Green. Dear Mr. Chairman, members of the planning group, my name is John Green. Many of you know me through my work as the program director for the Backcountry Land Trust. I'm also a 10-year resident of Alpine, a parent in our school district, and I'm involved in many community groups. I'm writing today with comments on the new county park concept plan proposed at 2480 South Grade Road. In my role with BCLT, I have been the land manager for Wrights Field for the last decade, a position that is my honor and privilege to hold, and a responsibility that I do not take lightly. As the land steward for BCLT, I have several key concerns about the proposed county park as it has been presented. I do note here that I have made a strong delineation between my personal concerns as a citizen of Alpine and my professional concerns as an employee of BCLT regarding the county parks plan. This statement in no way reflects the position of the Backcountry Land Trust or its directors. All comments are my own, and to this end, I will share concerns about this park separately. First, as a land manager of Wrightsfield, my primary concern about this county park are impacts to the sensitive habitats and species unique to this area, primarily the health of Engelmann oaks and native grasslands on site. California has already lost 99% of our grasslands statewide. Impacts to the surrounding trails, specifically increased foot, bike, and equestrian traffic to and from the new park, which will utilize BCLT-owned lands to shortcut to the new park. And 3, overall increase in the intensity of use at Wrightsfield will have deleterious impacts to all aspects of the preserve. Even at the peak of the state shutdown order in spring 2020, the highest number of cars I've ever counted on the South Grade Road trailhead was 27 cars at one time. This county park proposes 270 parking spaces. This means that on on-peak use days, we can expect a 10-fold increase in use within this part of town. Those impacts will be far-reaching and will have yet to be adequately planned for by the county. My personal concerns about this park are as follows. 1, water usage. With 300 plus trees and several acres of natural grass planned for the park, the county currently has no plan for water. 2, barbecue pits. Providing public access to fire in a dry grassland may be legally permissible, but it is foolish. The risks far outweigh the benefits. No barbecue should be included in this new park. And 3, traffic safety. The county has so far failed to adequately address traffic impacts and safety concerns from the increased volume of use on this section of South Grade Road. All right, 2 more. The next comment is from Jody Root. My wife Sharon and I are 44-year residents of Alpine. I've participated in many local organizations, including School Board, 10 years, AYSO, started Region 295, Body Sox, Little League, Alpine Education Foundation, Community Center, etc. Was instrumental in bringing park land development funds to the old Joe McQueen site, as well as Descanso Elementary School for fields. I'm familiar with the need to have recreational areas in our community. Wrightsfield is a unique and wonderful asset for Alpine, and I would think your organization would do everything necessary to preserve it. The proposed park would jeopardize the field. Issues like safety on South Grade Road, access to water and sewer, lights, etc. have not been resolved. The plan is the county's plan, not Alpine's. Somehow the park that was originally proposed doubled in size without any traceable information from our residents for the expansion. I know that you have mentioned at a recent meeting that you think the county is listening to our comments, but there is no evidence of that. The plan, as proposed, risks an already existing asset which is used by our residents. Jody Root. And the last comment is from Brent Easty. When the county supervisors approved the purchase of the property in 2019, the act was portrayed as a conservation win due to the preservation of existing open space. The current proposed overstuffed park design is out of step with this vision and does not meet the spirit of the movement. It is in conflict with the rationale for purchasing this particular parcel of land. This is no doubt the product of overzealous contracted architects. This impact-heavy design is not the best interest of county taxpayers or local Alpine residents. Similar amenities elsewhere in the area go unused, and we do not want or need them here. Brent Easty.
Mr. Chairman, I suggest we take a 5-minute break so you can catch your breath.
All right, we'll go ahead and take a 5-minute recess and reconvene at 8:10. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you.